Hiro's heart pounded in his chest as he sprinted through the chilling darkness. He cast terrified glances over his shoulder, catching glimpses of shadows. Panic gripped him, urging him to run faster, to escape. In the corner of his eye, Hiro caught a fleeting image, a flicker of movement. Adrenaline surged through Hiro's veins as he pushed himself harder. The chilling wind seemed to carry whispers that sent shivers down his spine. Suddenly, the ground gave way beneath him, and Hiro tumbled into a pit of darkness. The impact stole his breath, and he found himself engulfed in a suffocating abyss. Panic gripped him as he gasped for air, his vision growing hazy, and a haunting laughter echoed through the void. With a jolt, Hiro's eyes flew open, his body drenched in a cold sweat as his hands instinctively flew to his neck. Hiro's breathing gradually steadied as he lay there, his mind still entangled in the remnants of the vivid nightmare. Reality seeped in. He found himself in an unfamiliar room, the cozy quarters of a small inn. Slowly, his memories flooded back in, and he recalled that he was backpacking through Asia. He remembered that he had sought refuge here for the night. Shrugging off the remnants of the nightmare, Hiro swung his legs over the edge of the bed and rose to his feet. He decided to embrace the morning and wander through the village. As he approached the inn's entrance, the concierge greeted him with a nod and a warm smile. Stepping into the morning air, Hiro inhaled deeply, the scent of blooming flowers mingling with the cool breeze. He passed by locals, attractive faces that seemed to erase the lingering unease of his dream. Entering a small restaurant, Hiro found a friendly waitress who took his order with a smile that seemed to radiate warmth. After a hearty breakfast, Hiro stepped back onto the village's cobblestone streets. He glanced around, the realization gradually dawning on him as he exchanged nods and greetings with the villagers. They were all women. A peculiar sensation tingled at the back of his mind, and a growing sense of being watched made him uncomfortable. As Hiro ventured further, the friendly gazes began to shift. The once welcoming expressions turned into cold, disdainful stares that followed him. Hiro felt like an intruder in a world that was not his own. He wandered through narrow alleyways, past shops, and beneath the shade of cherry blossom trees. Yet he couldn't find a single friendly face to meet his gaze. Seeking refuge in a small park nestled on the outskirts of the village, Hiro sat on a bench. He gazed out at the serene landscape, his mind a whirlwind of confusion and apprehension. The events of the past few hours were as puzzling as they were unsettling, and he found himself yearning for an escape from the tense atmosphere. As Hiro pondered his next move, a voice, gentle and welcoming, cut through his thoughts. He looked up to find a woman around his age standing there. Her eyes held a warmth that was a stark contrast to the unfriendly stares he had encountered earlier. "Mind if I join you?" she asked, her voice soft and inviting. Hiro nodded, his curiosity piqued. "Of course, please." They fell into an easy conversation. She shared stories about the village, its history, its traditions, and the tight-knit community that resided there. Hiro, in turn, opened up about his own travels, sharing snippets of his adventures across Asia. As the hours passed, their camaraderie deepened, and before Hiro knew it, they were heading to a local eatery for lunch. Eyes watched with a mixture of intrigue and surprise as they walked together. The woman's presence seemed to command respect, her smile eliciting nods and greetings from those they passed. Over lunch, Hiro couldn't help but notice the way the villagers reacted to her. It was clear that she held a special place in their community. Through their conversation, Hiro learned more about the woman's role within the village, her dedication to preserving its traditions. As lunch concluded, Hiro and the woman continued to walk through the village, talking effortlessly. As the sun began its descent, Hiro and the woman reached a crossroads. The impending parting seemed to carry a tinge of disappointment. Yet Hiro knew he had gained a valuable ally. Just before they went their separate ways, the woman's gaze held his for a moment. She leaned in and planted a soft kiss on Hiro's lips. The touch of her lips sent a shockwave of surprise through him. With a smile, she murmured, "You have no idea how lonely it's been, not having men around." Hiro's heart raced as he absorbed her words. He sensed an unspoken invitation in her gaze, a longing. Hiro found himself saying, "If you'd like, we could spend more time together. I have a room in the inn." Her smile deepened. "I'd like that," she replied. Hiro's heart pounded as he watched her walk away. The evening air was charged with anticipation as Hiro prepared for the night ahead. His thoughts were consumed by the woman he had met, a connection that felt like a dream. Hiro waited in his room, his pulse quickened with every passing minute. But as the hours stretched on, hope began to grow impatient. The evening slipped away into the embrace of darkness. Yet, she didn't come. Frustration simmered within Hiro. He cursed under his breath. With an exasperated sigh, he fell onto the bed, cursing the woman and the village that seemed to thrive on secrets and manipulation. Soon his resentment was replaced with exhaustion. He drifted into an uneasy sleep. In the dead of the night, Hiro's slumber was shattered by eerie sounds, creaks, whispers, and the distant rustling of fabric. His eyes snapped open, and he turned on the lights. The room was empty, but his windows were wide open. His senses were on high alert as he listened to the sounds that seemed to reverberate through the inn. Driven by curiosity, Hiro swung his legs over the edge of the bed and crept toward the door. The noises seemed to lead him. Hiro's heart raced as he navigated the inn's hallways. Fear gnawed at his insides, yet he pressed on, compelled by a force he couldn't comprehend. A shiver coursed through him as he turned a corner, and there, bathed in darkness, stood a figure, the woman he had met. But as Hiro's gaze locked onto her, a shudder raced down his spine. Her face held no expression, an eerie void. "You made me wait." He took a step back in anger. The woman's voice, once soft and inviting, now seemed to resonate with an otherworldly echo. "Patience, dear traveler," she said. "It's time you understood." Suddenly, she moved forward, her face slowly coming into view. Hiro's breath caught as the shadows revealed her neck, elongated, contorted, and utterly terrifying. A ROKUROKUBI. The truth struck him like a lightning bolt. The connection he had felt had been nothing more than a facade, concealing the creature's true form. As Hiro's breath quickened, he took an instinctive step back. His gaze remained locked on the once familiar face, now contorted into a horrifying visage. With a chilling roar, the ROKUROKUBI's elongated neck surged forward, snaking through the air. Hiro staggered backward, his mind racing for a means of escape. The woman's voice, once soothing, now reverberated with a malevolence that sent shivers down Hiro's spine. "You are not welcome here," she hissed, the words dripping with venom. In an instant, the woman twisted into something nightmarish, her features distorting into an embodiment of horror that defied the limits of reality. With a surge of terror, Hiro attempted to back away, but his retreat was cut short by the advancing figure. The ROKUROKUBI's elongated neck snaked toward him, its approach relentless. In a desperate bid for escape, Hiro turned and fled toward the village. But he was confronted by an unsettling sight. All the women of the village had gathered, holding hands, forming an impenetrable barrier that blocked his path. With his heart racing, Hiro's instincts kicked in, and he attempted to push his way through the crowd. But the women held their ground. The ROKUROKUBI's presence loomed behind him, laughing. As his struggles grew more desperate, her long neck wrapped around his throat. Darkness began to claim his vision, his struggles growing weaker as the creature's grip intensified. In his peripheral vision, the women of the village stood, laughing. And then, in a grotesque twist that sent a fresh wave of terror coursing through him, the ROKUROKUBI opened her mouth wide, revealing sharp fangs. As her teeth sunk into his neck, an agonized gasp escaped Hiro's lips, his vision flickering as a surge of searing pain engulfed him. Darkness enveloped him, the taste of fate's cruel game bittersweet on his lips. The village, a boundary between dream and nightmare, ensnared him in its unforgiving grip.